Good afternoon and welcome to another Channel 8 sports presentation. This afternoon from J. Doyle Field in East Brunswick, it's the Bear football team hosting Woodbridge in a Greater Middlesex Conference Red Division game. Hi, I'm Jimmy Allinder, and I'm being joined by Phil Hill, and it is a glorious afternoon here in East Brunswick. And East Brunswick, Phil, is hoping that it's going to be a glorious afternoon football-wise.
They certainly are. This is, we're always talking about big games, but this clearly is one of the biggest games they've had since 1990, I guess. And they want to win this game, and they should win this game. But you heard me several games ago talking about Woodbridge. I wasn't afraid about Searville, didn't concern myself with Old Bridge, but I was concerned about Woodbridge, and I'm still concerned about Woodbridge. They have one of the largest offensive lines you're going to see anywhere, and they got a back that's leading the county in rushing. Brandon Scott has more than 1,000 yards, and if he breaks loose, he can be big trouble for the Bears. Okay, now at stake in this game for East Brunswick is qualifying for the Central Jersey Group 4 playoffs, which are going to begin a week from today. However, they come into this game having knocked off a fairly good Saraville team, and they're kind of on a roll, are they not? Well, they're kind of on a roll, but you can't look past Woodbridge. Woodbridge is a team that tied Old Bridge 10-10. Woodbridge lost to Piscataway. They were on the 13-yard line of Piscataway with seconds to go and threw an interception, so they lost that game. So they can play with the big boys, and Searville's the only other team that has beaten them. But it's going to be an awfully good contest today.
All right, let's quickly talk about East Brunswick's defense. They came in and played tremendous last week. They played great all season long.
They've played great all season long, and I tell you, there may, in years gone by, have been some better individual talent, but no team has played together as well as this team has this year. That's both offensively and defensively.
All right, and offensively for East Brunswick, Frank Sermonello continues to roll. Greg Colheim, the quarterback, he's coming up on breaking the individual yardage mark for East Brunswick.
Greg Colheim will be the all-time single-season leading rusher for the Bears before he leaves out of here. No doubt about it, and he's done it with so very few carries. When you think that he's had only 59 carries coming into the game, and you think back to people like Jim Varick, who had 33 carries in one game, and Lynn Beleza, who had 180 carries in a season, it tells you this kid's averaging 14 yards per carry, and that's not even telling the whole story.
All right.
So he's going to get his.
Okay, and we hope that you get your fill of football this afternoon, because it's going to be a great contest, a spirited one, a lot of hitting. East Brunswick, Woodbridge, and we'll be back with the action in just a moment. We are back at J. Doyle Field before the East Brunswick-Woodbridge game, and I should mention that today is Senior Parents' Day, and they are going to be introducing, as you can see, lined up on the far goalpost, parents along with band members, and that is going to be followed by, I believe, cheerleaders and their parents, and then players. So we're going to have a lot to talk about. Well, you can jump in anytime.
Yeah, well, it's a nice tradition.
It really is. I'm not going to be able to stay with John Emery as far as the announcement, so why don't I just go down this list, and we will give these band members and parents their due. For the senior band, Carol Batista, Catherine and John Batista, Laura Boutros, Hannah and Rafit Boutros, Van Chu, Vi and Zhang Chu, Katie Kufari, parents Mary and Gil Kufari, Kristen Foley, Catherine and Ted Foley, Kevin Hall, Alice and Jack Hall, Ed Hong. We do not have the first names of Mr. and Mrs. Hong. Joe Merkel, Ellen and Ed Merkel, Joe Ohlendorf, Pat Ohlendorf, his mother, Bonnie Parker, Pat Ohlendorf, Tony Pucci, Lori and Anthony Pucci, Howie Wolfson, Lori and Russ Wolfson, and then finally Lindsay Height, and we do not have Lindsay's parents' first name, Mr. and Mrs. Height. So that will take care of the band, seniors, and parents. As I say, we're not in sync here, but that's okay.
And I tell you, they got to be awfully proud. They appeared in Giant Stadium to perform, and we've mentioned how well this band has developed.
Yes, they have. They've been a real credit to East Brunswick this year. And, Phil, they're expecting a big crowd here this afternoon, from what I understand.
Well, there should be. It's a very important game. There should be an awfully large crowd.
And not in the camera focus, but behind the band parents, we have the players. Now, the senior cheerleaders are out there, but again, we do not have the names of the seniors, so our apologies for that.
Cheerleaders and their parents. First, Wendy Meyer, parents Fran and Stuart.
Okay, this is Wendy Meyer. Again, I'm going along with John Emery on this one.
With mother Mary Lou.
Adrian Amato.
With father Tony Amato.
Stacy K. Jen Blonders. Lisa Grover.
Gerber, I believe.
Gerber, that's good. Thank you, Phil. Did you catch that one?
Grozak, I believe.
This is Jackie Blake.
Michael Drulis with parents Francesca and Steve.
So there you have the senior cheerleaders. And we have an impressive list of senior football players, Phil.
Well, I don't think we're done with the cheerleaders.
That's Michael and Mrs. Mangino.
Okay.
Okay. I tell you, we talk football because that's our job here, but the cheerleaders and the band put in an awful lot of hours, and a lot of times people don't realize that. They put an awful lot of hours, and we appreciate them.
All righty. Familiar names, Ting Ajikapatosho.
And I tell you, Tim's football days, his best days are ahead of him. Okay, Frank Knoppenberger saying hold off with the announcement.
Okay, we'll go a little slower here.
And that's Cecilia Ajikapatosho.
Ajikapatosho.
Tim's mother. It took us 3 years to get the pronunciation.
That's true.
But I was saying his best years are ahead of him. He's a raw talent.
Well, here's one that's getting it done right now. Number 52, Sean Daly, with his parents, Jim and Donna Daly.
I tell you, led the county in pins for wrestling, and just has been the big difference on the line, offensive line.
He has been quite a difference, defensively as well. Number 50 is Paul Dumas. Okay, he's not in camera.
What can you say? 3-year starter, Paul Dumas. Remembered him as a sophomore, and he's been great all 3 years.
Okay, Jeremy Fisher is on camera right now. Here's another significant player for East Brunswick on the line.
And again, his days may be ahead of him. Had a tremendous game against Serval, his best game to date.
Number 87, punter Keith Fugaro, with his parents, Joe and Louise Fugaro.
And Fugaro's done a steady job all year. Fortunately, they haven't needed him a whole lot.
You want to talk about leadership? This is leadership right here. Co-captain, 61, Dave Hagan.
I tell you, and you got to give him a lot of credit. Hagan.
Ricky Johnson, parents Gregory and Julia.
Okay, they have it mixed up, but that's Dave Hagan, number 61. Okay, all right, here's number 6, Ricky Johnson.
Ricky Johnson, I got to say it every time I see him, just a great kid, great personality. I'm friends with his mom and dad, and if you want to have a son, Ricky Johnson is the type of kid you want to have.
This guy is somewhat familiar. Greg Kohlheim, probably going to be the leading rusher in a single season for East Brunswick.
That's right, and could eclipse the all-time career rushing, who knows.
And he's going to want a big game. We're going to talk more about the football game as it starts, but this is for introducing the parents.
Dan Lorenzo, parents Roy and Connie.
All righty, El Loco here.
We won't call them Mr. and Mrs. El Loco, I know that, but I'll tell you, Dan, it speaks for itself. He's just done a super job all year. What a way to go out.
Dan Lorenzo. You know, when you talk about maybe the most dominant defensive player this year, I think you have to think about number 88, Lenny May.
Lenny May is just an outstanding ball player in the tradition of the Jay Adocios and the other nose guards. Don, his dad, and I are old friends from way back, Peter J. Schweitzers.
Okay, upcoming here is one of the key running backs, Mark Sabatino.
And again, everybody has contributed to this team. Mark Sabatino, just when Simonel's keyed on, he comes through.
And coming into the camera now, another co-captain and another great leader, Jade Tangway, number 1.
Told you I thought he had the greatest name I've ever heard, Jade Tangway. I like it. But I tell you, he and Hagen have been the leaders for this team.
Yes, they have. And what do we got here?
Okay, we got someone. They made it. That's the important thing. They made it. They may have come just through the gate, but they're here.
Okay. And this, of course, is number 2, Teddy Wright, who is filled in admirably in the defensive backfield.
And Teddy Wright's an awfully nice kid as well. Volunteered his time to go down and help out with the Golden Bears right before the season started. And anytime high school kids come back to help out with Pop Warner's players, I smile on them.
And the last one after this, he's not in the camera. Look, they're posing for pictures here. This is quite an impressive sight on this field. If you look up and down this long green line, this is Joe Iannone.
And Marcus Borden said something last Friday. He said, I want to thank all my players and people like Joe Iannone. They're on the scout team, and they're the ones who prepare the regular team to get their act together, and he's just as valuable as any member of this team.
Absolutely. And before we go off here, I just want to say something about the individuals on these guys on this East Brunswick football team. You put them all together, though, and as you said, they're a great team.
They are a great team. Tangway, the story you did with Tangway and Hagen, they talked about we were going to play as a team this year. They're going to be unselfish, and it's showing.
They've been true to their word. Okay, we are going to take a break here, and we'll be back with the kickoff in just a moment. All right, as you can see, the entire teams practically
well, those are the
on
seniors.
The field.
Those are seniors for the Bears,
right?
Which is a nice touch.
Okay, let's see. East Brunswick has elected to receive. I imagine they have won the coin toss. I always like to say coin toss at least one time, guys. All righty. Okay, we're about set to go. We're going to try to set these lineups. And if East Brunswick being on offense is going to start Kohlheim, of course, at quarterback. Sabatino, Kwan, and Sermonello will be the running backs. Wide receivers, Jade Tangway, Tim Magicapatosho. And the offensive line will be Sean Daly, Jeremy Fisher, Eric Malecki, Dave Hagen, and Jim Oliver. Just a big game, Phil.
A big game. The Bears, as you pointed out, receiving, and I think headed in their favorite direction. They'd love to score down this end, Jim.
Yep. That East Brunswick defense, though, that's to me, that's the element of this game where East Brunswick might have some a little bit of favor, because they have really been able to shut down opponents all season long. Even the Piscataway loss, they shut down Piscataway's running game. And Woodbridge predominantly is a running club, although they do have a quarterback who can throw.
He can throw. He hasn't thrown any touchdown passes this year, Jim. Most of their action is on the ground.
All right, kicking off for Woodbridge is going to be number 6 on our program. It's Mike Kamba. Number 14, Greg Kohlheim, and Dave Kilkenny. We haven't mentioned his name, but he probably came through with the most important play of the year thus far in that interception return for a touchdown against Saraville.
There's so many important plays in that game, but that clearly is the one that was the big difference that stands out. And you see Kilkenny deep center. You can expect him to have that position next year as well.
All right, other than a slight chill in the air, there is really no wind to speak of, so I can't imagine weather to be a factor. That sun glare, though, can be difficult for the team that is going against the sun. All right, Kamba's going to kick off. Here we go. Picked up by Kilkenny. And carrying that ball rather loosely, but he still gets up to the 35, and that's where East Brunswick will begin. Somebody down for the Bears. It looks like Daly.
And Daly comes up limping. We certainly hope the young man's all right.
Well, is he going to stay in?
He's an offensive tackle there, and he's leaning there. I think he's got to come out now.
Yep, and is going to be replaced by Iannone.
And we talked about Iannone, and he's right there contributing already.
Right.
Well, the Bears didn't see too much offense last week against Saraville, so they're just glad to see the ball.
All right, here we go. 1st and 10 for East Brunswick from their 35. We're just underway. East Brunswick and Woodbridge. And Colheim up the middle. Not too much.
And right to the middle of that Barron defense there. And you look at the Barrons, and they do have some size out there. Once again, the Bears are outsized by a team for consecutive weeks.
That was Sermonello. We'll give him 2 yards on that carry. And it'll bring up a 2nd and 8. Ball just resting on the 37-yard line. East Brunswick in a wishbone. Give to the second back. That looks like Sabatino.
And again, all Colheim is doing is making his reads there. Saw something and hand the ball off. I'll tell you this, Woodbridge has the size, and when you have that much size, unless you're really exceptional athletes, you can't be quick also. So if the Bears can get to the outside and get a step, I think you'll see a little bit different than what you may have seen against Saraville.
Ball just resting on the 39, so it'll be 3rd and 5. Colheim has it, flips it out to Sabatino, trying to find the corner, and he's not going to get there.
I'll tell you, good tackle there.
It's good coverage by Woodbridge. They had Colheim bottled up as well, Phil.
They had him bottled up. Good defense by the Barrons.
It's about a 2-yard pickup, so it'll bring a 4th down and 3. East Brunswick will have to punt.
And that was Eric Russo coming up to make the tackle.
And a deep back for Woodbridge is number 3. That's Carlos Quinones. Again, this is our program, so we're not quite sure. Just getting off.
I'll tell you.
And it's a floater by Figaro, and takes a innocent bounce and just lands right on the 38-yard line. It's grabbed.
And clearly the Barons scouted the Bears against Saraville because they saw that you can get close to blocking a punt, and was awfully close there.
And something we will have to watch. All right, East Brunswick's defense will start off. Daly is down. He's got ice on that ankle. And I'll tell you what, that could be a big loss for East Brunswick. He's a big key in there.
The big thing for East Brunswick this year, they've been able to avoid serious injuries. So you're right, this hurts them on both sides of the ball.
All right, Slickner, the quarterback, keeps it. I thought he fumbled that ball briefly and elected to keep it himself. And he scrambles up for about 3 yards. So that'll make it 2nd and 7.
And that's Chris Bettis, I believe, on the tackle there, number 26. And I'm going to talk about Bettis a little bit later on. He's having a super year.
This is Slickner. Give inside. Boy, look at that line drive.
I'll tell you, and that's that offensive line that I talked about. They average nearly 250 pounds across that line there, and they're leaning on some people. I talked to Bill Nyers before the game, and he said we want to get our bodies on the Bear defenders. We know they're quick. We know they're aggressive. We got to get our bodies on them and move them out.
That was Russo on the carry, and a good gain of 5 yards brings up a 3rd and about 2.5. And let's see. I believe.
I'll tell you, they may have picked it up. Good drive.
Depends where the mark is. And it looks probably going to measure this. Let's see.
I think they got it. That was Russo again.
Yeah, he does look like he has enough, but.
And again, the story, Jim, no secret. You just look at them out there. They have some size on them. You see number 79 clearly stands out. Mike Klozek, 6'3", 280-pound senior.
280 pounds.
And they got Brian Jacobson, 6 feet, 260-pound senior. And Sean Rundy, 6'1", 250 pounds on that line there. So they got some beef there.
Just enough. And Woodbridge picks up the first down of this afternoon.
And Woodbridge is going to play old-fashioned smash-mouth football. You won't see too much fancy stuff here. You won't see too much running. They're going to use that size they have on that offensive line.
And we haven't seen Scott yet.
And try to drive it down on you. Well, you keep hitting that middle of the line. They're trying to set you up for Brandon Scott. Brandon Scott comes in leading the county with 1,016 yards rushing, and he's a threat to break one at any time.
All right, first down for Woodbridge on their own 48-yard line. We're underway. It's 8:20 left in the first quarter, no score. Slickner under the center, and he pitches out, and there's a fumble picked up by Scott, but he runs out of bounds. Smart move on his part.
I'll tell you, I don't know. Normally, in that 46 defense, the Bears are normally attacking and coming up at you. That time, nobody broke through. If so, they might have been able to pick that up themselves. But Woodbridge out of sync a little bit there, pitch back, and it could have been disastrous for them.
A loss of about 12 yards. So it's 2nd and 22. Again, we don't know too much about Woodbridge's passing game. Pitch to Brandon Scott. He fumbles it again.
And he's having a tough time holding on to that ball.
And you can see that attacking East Brunswick defense, Phil.
It may have him concerned, but again, what is happening is that he's looking to run before he gets control of the ball.
That's another loss, or at best, Scott got back to the line of scrimmage, so it's be third down.
On the play before last, it was just a bad pitch. On this one, it's a good pitch, but he's looking upfield before he got control of the ball, and I believe Glennie May was right there.
All right, third down then, and about, let's call it a loss of a yard, 3rd and 23. Woodbridge going backwards on this series.
And you got to watch Bartos.
Number 88, the tight end for Woodbridge, is a good receiver. It's a shotgun. And they're going to get him, maybe? Yes, fumble. Ball's loose. Who has it?
And the Bears recover.
Let's see who has it. And they're surrounding Kilkenny, who comes up with the ball.
Always around the ball. Always around the ball.
And that fumble on the 30-yard line gives East Brunswick tremendous field position.
I'll tell you, Jim, I didn't see who caused that fumble, but they were putting the pressure on. And then you had about 4 or 5 East Brunswick defenders around the ball, which typifies this defense. They're always around the ball. David Kilkenny once again coming up with another fine recovery.
All right, we'll call it 1st and 10 on the 31-yard line of Woodbridge for East Brunswick. And Kolheim, you have 2 wide receivers on the near side here. He's going to pass. It's a deep one. Is Tangway open?
There's some bumping. Oh, wow.
Well,
no flag.
It looked like Tangway's progress was impeded somewhat.
Well,
but
there's clearly some bumping there. Apparently the official didn't think it was enough to pull the yellow flag, and
we saw that pass with Tangway and Kolheim work.
Developing.
Twice against Piscataway. And this is the part of the field that East Brunswick likes to operate from.
And maybe this is a liberal crew here because we saw too many flags last week, and maybe this crew is going to let the guys play.
All right. A good play, and East Brunswick wants to spread the field. That'll give Kolheim more room to operate. He's dangerous at any time. 2nd down. He keeps it, and he's got that left side.
Wow.
I think he's going to take it in. Touchdown, East Brunswick.
I'll tell you. That's Greg Kolheim, and that's about a 30-yarder, I believe.
30-yard touchdown on a 2nd down and 10. And we just mentioned that with Kolheim having just any room, well, he can just outrun the defense.
Well, and that's what I pointed out before. They're going constantly going inside there. Woodbridge is big. They can't be that fast. Marcus Gordon knows that, and he's going to take advantage of using Greg Kolheim judiciously. He's going to use him the right time. A good read by Greg, and a 30-yard touchdown.
In to kick the extra point, Chris Bettis, who I believe needs one more to tie
Ted Pazinko. That's right. That would be his 26th if he makes this.
All right, and these are important extra points. Places down, and it's up right through the uprights. And East Brunswick takes a 7-0 lead.
Okay, and the sophomore, Chris Bettis, just has tied Ted Bazinko with extra points, 26. Bettis comes in leading the county in kicking points. He had 25 extra points. Now he takes the county lead with that extra point there. And the young man, one of the few times I had a chance to really look at a game, which was the Serval game on tape. We get to see all the calls that we miss.
Yeah, of course.
But you get to see things that players do as well. And Chris Bettis is doing, for a sophomore, is just doing a super job. He's leading he's right up there in a number of categories: fumble recoveries, fumbles caused, knockdown passes. He's right in everything. Mind you of Paul Dumas as a sophomore. Just one of the players we want to watch.
Well, credit a lot of that opportunity for Bettis to kick extra points on this high-powered Bear offense as well. And you saw part of it right there with Kohlheim rounding the left end for a touchdown. All right, here we go on the kickoff. And Bettis will kick off as well. Deep for Woodbridge is Brandon Scott, number 2. And Bettis will take off. Not too deep. Fielded on about the 12-yard line. Brandon Scott will go right up the middle and smacked well. And he'll be down on the 36-yard line. And that's where Woodbridge will take over once again. East Brunswick leading 7-0 with 6:41 left in the first period. Again, if East Brunswick wins, they will clinch a berth in Central Jersey Group 4, and we'll talk about that a little later.
Oh, will we?
Slickner had a little bit of trouble in that second series, actually. Looks like when Woodbridge keeps it simple, they do best. There's a plunge over the middle. Looks like Russo on the carry.
And the Barrons are picking their spot as well. You might expect them seeing to go to Brandon Scott a lot. They're trying to set the Bears up as well. Russo's a good, hard nose running back, and he can drag some bodies when he goes through that line there. But they want you to concentrate on him so they can snap one on you, much as the Bears did.
4-yard pickup on the play. That makes it 2nd and 6 for the Barrons. Scott tackled, though, by Lareza. He shot the gap on that one, Phil.
Lareza shot the gap. He's right there. Hagen's right there, and Jeremy Fisher right there as well. And these are the guys, as I said before, as a team, playing defense as well as you want to see it.
No gain on that play, and this is the type of situation that East Brunswick wants to get Woodbridge in, and that is 3rd and long. We have a 3rd and about 5 yards to go. Woodbridge on its 41-yard line. And East Brunswick leading 7-0. 5 minutes and 15 seconds left to go. First quarter. Trips to the left side. 3 receivers for Woodbridge. Slickner, though, over top of the center. Keeps it himself, and he's nailed by Bettis. First one to hit him, Phil.
Bettis certainly was the first one to hit him and brought him down. And again, quite a player. Again, when you watch the films, Jim, you see an awful lot that people are doing. And I'll talk a little bit about what I did see.
All right, Whalen and Kohlheim will be the deep backs on the 4th down punt. And punting for Woodbridge is number 42, Pat Graffio. East Brunswick looking like they want to block this. Here they come. It's a short kick, wobbly. And Whalen picks it up. And does he have room? Yes.
Oh.
Cuts it inside. And gets some nice yardage out of that, Phil. I thought for a moment he had some daylight.
I tell you, showing a little spunkiness there. Rich Whalen, and one of the people that I noticed on the film, Whalen had 16 tackles against Serval, believe it or not.
And we didn't notice him that much, quite frankly.
Just a steady performer there. Anytime you're in on 16 tackles, you're playing ball.
All right, East Brunswick will take over on its 35. We got 4 minutes and 10 seconds left in the first period, and they are leading 7-0. Greg Kohlheim with a 31-yard touchdown run. And Kohlheim under center again. This is East Brunswick in the bone. Kohlheim.
Wow.
Wow, he's through.
Wow.
And let's
mercy.
see. All right, there's the angle right there. Is he going to outrun it?
The angle of pursuit will do no good here.
He's gone.
Wow.
What a tremendous football run by Greg Kohlheim on the first play from scrimmage. A 65-yard touchdown run. And East Brunswick now jumps up 13-0.
Just an amazing.
Did you see that run?
I'll
that
tell you,
speed?
Greg Kohlheim cutting through, coming through the middle, pulling away from several tackles. Dan Bechtold was one of the tacklers, one of the better tackles for the Barrons, cut across the field. Young player had what we call the angle of pursuit, and he just ran away from that. A tremendous performance.
65-yard run to go with his 31-yard touchdown run. That gives him 96, and he's about 10 yards away from breaking the record. This is Bettis. And that looks good. And another sterling march.
And speaking about setting records, Bettis has just set a record there.
Yes, he
with
did.
The extra points for our season. 27 takes over the lead from Ted Bazinko. But Greg Kohlheim, again, you can't say enough. We talked about his running ability. I don't see a better runner in the county. And now the Chiefs certainly have some guys, legitimate backfill players that can do it, but there's no weapon like Greg Kohlheim. We haven't seen anything on the opposing teams like Greg Kohlheim.
I agree, Phil. That's we've had our share of quality runners through the years for East Brunswick, certainly. And this year, certainly, Kohlheim emerges as probably the best running back. And, of course, we're looking at on the other side, Brandon Scott, who already has 1,000 yards.
Right.
All right, that touchdown comes at 3:39 left in the first period. And, boy, I'll tell you what, East Brunswick so impressive. And, of course, remember the defense has done its job as well.
Well, we talked about both sides of the ball, this truly being a team. And what can you say?
All right, Bettis lined up. He's ready to kick it. Back deep for the Barrons is number 2, Brandon Scott. Hasn't done too much thus far. It's a low liner. Grabbed by Scott, who goes up the middle, and he's nailed. Host of tacklers.
I'll tell you, 5 tacklers there, and that's what marks this team. They're all around the ball. Brandon Scott being a little tentative there. All he saw was a green wall and almost started backtracking.
Lorenzo was the first one there, but number 66, Dave McGowan, was also involved. And then the rest of the Jesse James gang took over. So the ball is marked on the 25-yard line.
And if you're the Barrons, you got to be a little concerned. You want to get your offense going. They really haven't been able to get anything offensively going to this point in time.
All right, 3 receivers to the low side of your screen.
And Slickner keeps it.
Well,
he spread everybody out wide to the left, and he tried to do a quarterback keep to the right.
He only got 2 yards on that play. They look rather uncomfortable at this point,
Very
Phil.
uncomfortable.
And it's a 2nd and 8.
I don't think they've seen the type of pressure that the Bears on defense that the Bears put on you.
Should mention that Sean Daly is back in the game. He went out on the kickoff with an injured ankle, but has been taped up, and he's back in the middle. 2nd and 8 for Woodbridge. 2:39 left in the first period. East Brunswick leading 14-0. Back to pass, but here comes Lorenzo.
Oh,
And nobody was blocking him. Now, Phil, I think we should mention that Slickner has had 2 concussions in recent weeks. And that's a subject that we talk about in the professionals.
We talk
Troy
about the
Aikman.
professional. If he's had 2 concussions in recent weeks, they better give him more protection than they're giving him right now, and I'll tell you that. Again, Dan Lorenzo, El Loco, just blowed in there. And that's the nature of this 46 defense, this Buddy Ryan 46 defense. A lot of people can talk about it. Not everybody can play it. You got to have the horses to play it, and the Bears have the horses.
Loss of 5 on the play. That makes it 3rd and 15 for Woodbridge. They're back on their 20. Look at the East Brunswick defense stacked. Scott was the intended receiver.
And Schleichner took another hit, I tell you.
Sean Daly was back there.
Daly was back there, nailed him. Scott trying to do a look in, and too much pressure on the Barrons. And what you're seeing now, Jimmy, is just that the Bears are just too quick. The Barrons are big and strong, but the Bears are just too quick. And
You think also, Phil, with the 14-0 lead, they're probably taking a couple extra chances, perhaps?
well, it's their type of ball anyway. That's the way they've been playing all year.
All right, Woodbridge back to punt. Again, Colheim and Whalen are the deep backs.
And Daly limps off.
Almost blocked by Lorenzo. And Whalen's going to let it bounce, and it goes out of bounds at about, let's see, about the midfield mark. And that is where the East Brunswick Bears will take over. Excellent field position.
And if you're the Barrons, you got to wonder what you got to do to stop Colheim. He's only kept it twice, I believe, and 3 times, and twice, and he scored on both of them. So,
Hey, if you're East Brunswick, you keep on doing it. Although I would say that Tangway pass that we thought might have been an interception, I think it set up a lot of those runs because it forced Woodbridge to play a little wide, and that's all the room Colheim needs. So he's got the ball now. And let's see here. He's got it right here, and he has a lot of room. What a fake. And I believe with that run, that's going to be good for, let's see where they mark it. 12-yard run. I think that's going to be enough to give Colheim first down.
And with that, you're right. Colheim just set a single-season record for the most yardage in a season.
How many did he need?
He needed 103 coming in.
103. He has 108 now.
Just past David Goldstein, 1988, with 927 yards.
I know records are important, but not as important as East Brunswick winning this game in Colheim's mind. Ball on the 38. Give to Quan, who can't get through.
And Quan, it's good to see him there. Quan injured his ankle this week in practice, and he's taped up, and apparently he's all right because he's out there.
Looks like they're going to be a loss of 2 on that play, so that'll bring up a 2nd and 12. We have 1:06 left in this first period. East Brunswick 14-0 over Woodbridge. 2 Greg Colheim touchdown runs have been the scoring. 2nd and 12, as we mentioned. Colheim gives, and through is Sabatino.
Oh.
He somehow found his way through the middle.
Well, you know, it's just the nature of this team. They're just so aggressive on both sides of the ball there. And the Barrons are there, but the Bears just don't stop.
Pick up 8 on that play, so that'll bring up a 3rd and 5. Clock ticking down in the first quarter, 28 seconds left to go. This is 2-down territory for the Bears, Phil. Colheim taking his time, looks over center. Gives to Sermonello, doesn't have the room though. They tried to catch Woodbridge keying on Colheim.
He's a little short. I wouldn't be surprised if they hold on to this ball, but I see them coming off, so it's not bad field position.
Well, they're going to think about it as this first period comes to a conclusion. A good one for the Bears. East Brunswick with 2 touchdown runs by Greg Colheim, one of 31 yards at 6:48 and 65 yards at 3:39. And the Bears are leading 14-0. And looking to strike for more.
And I tell you, now, as you see the Bears walk down the other end of the field, you're looking at an awfully confident group. And why not? These guys have played their hearts out, again, on both sides of the ball. They believe in themselves. I believe, that goal line stand against Serval last week, if there ever a team came together, that's when this team came together. And they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Okay. And Marcus Borden talking it over. I imagine he's going to go for this, Phil.
I think he might. He's in control. Woodbridge hasn't been able to do anything offensively against the Bear defense. The Bears don't want to give up the ball needlessly, seem to be able to pick up yardage when they choose to. So I'm sure he's going to go for it.
Well, the next mark that Colheim is going to go for, of course, is to become the first East Brunswick player to ever rush for 1,000 yards in a season.
And that may happen today.
The way he's going. All right. This is a 4th down now. East Brunswick needing 4 yards to get the first down. I think maybe they're trying to draw him off.
Well, That's against the Bears. Kohlheim moved prematurely.
Well, let's see how they're going to call this now.
They may have to end up punting.
Yeah, they're going to call Kohlheim one for moving. And now they're going to probably kick.
Well,
they will.
Apparently, Jim, Kohlheim's job was to try to draw them off and pick up that first down. Woodbridge showing a little discipline there. Didn't move. And the Bears called for motion, and now they have to punt.
So it'll be a 4th down and 9. Bears have the ball on the Woodbridge 35. And Figaro is going to be the kicker. Remember, Woodbridge almost blocked the last time. Here they come. Just missed. Good kick. East Brunswick's down there. Let's see if they can get it. No.
Wow.
Lorenzo was down deep. I thought he was going to be able to down it.
Well, Lorenzo was down there, had his back turned, wasn't quite sure where the ball was, and ball just went in the end zone. Will be brought out to the 20.
And that's where Woodbridge will take over as we begin the second period, with the Bears holding a 14-0 lead. Well, the defense has done its job as well, Phil.
Well, the defense certainly has done its job, and we sort of come to expect that. I think the Barrons are going to have to show a little imagination. It seems to me with what they've been trying, they've got nothing.
All right, we haven't made too much of the sun. It's a little low this time of year and quite bright, so I can't imagine that the passing game is going to be easy for the Bears. Slickner gives the ball, and driving forward is, let's see, that was Scott, and he gets about 5 yards on the play.
That's about the biggest pickup that we've seen by
It's the biggest pickup, and it's been the only way that the Barrons have been successful, is to drive forward with that huge offensive line. 2nd and 5. Woodbridge not showing too much of a penchant for throwing. Give to Scott again. This time he keeps on driving.
I'll tell you, a little counter, and the Bears closed down on it.
Bettis was there.
And German coming up from the bottom there, Steve German.
Paul Dumas. And it's a pickup of about 2.5, so we'll make it 3rd and 3 yards to go. Hagen coming in for East Brunswick. Daly will come out. Still favoring that ankle.
And I'll tell you, Barrons will tell you a little bit about themselves on what type of play they run here. 3rd and 3.
Give to Scott. Breaks one tackle.
And I believe he has the first.
Yes, he does.
Quick feet, the young man. You can see it. Brandon Scott, I had a chance to see him last year when Woodbridge played Trenton in the state finals, and he showed, I noticed him then, he showed some flashes there. They beat Trenton 11-8 that day. Trenton ran all over them, but the Barrons would not break, and just showed a lot of heart, end up winning that game.
All right, so that's the second first down for the Barrons. Gives them the ball on the 33-yard line. Slickner calling signals. Scott, the lone deep back. Pitch out to him, wide. Cuts it inside, but he's met.
And there's a flag there.
And
might be a holding back there.
And if it is, that'll bring, well, it'll give East Brunswick a choice, Phil.
Yeah, you had Dumas, Lenny May, Bettis all in there.
Holding.
They may decline it.
I don't know. If I was East Brunswick, I'd bring them back 10. Woodbridge does not seem capable of huge chunks of yards. And that's what they're going to do. Spot is from, let's see, where the foul was as well. So it's more than a, that's a huge one. It's about a 15-yarder. I think that was a crackback block, I think.
Maybe so.
So it is a 15-yarder.
Okay.
And puts Woodbridge in deep trouble now. They're on their 18 with a first down. They're going to have to get to the 43-yard line to get a first down. Slickner. Scott's in the middle. He looks like he has room. Almost breaks it.
And I tell you, you can see the speed there. Young Whalen coming up making a fine hit there.
And let's see, that was about a 15-yard gain. Gets him back to the original line of scrimmage.
And that's the kind of plays where we miss Whalen a lot of times. The city had 16 tackles versus Serval, 7 solos and 9 assists. And that's an active day.
Well, with both teams predominantly running this afternoon, the clock is going to move. We're down to about 8:57 in the second quarter. East Brunswick 14-0. Both scores coming in the first period. 2nd and 10 for Woodbridge. Pitch out to Scott. Looks like he's going to throw it. Intercepted by East Brunswick. That's Germain. Stepped right in front of that ball.
And what can you say? Defense, it's just too much pressure. The offensive line caused that interception there. Steve German, the 5'11", 171-pound junior, making that interception there. And offensively, the Barrons don't appear to have anything. They're totally bottled up. The 46 defense, the pressure they're putting on them has them totally rattled right now.
Germain brings it all the way back to the Woodbridge 28-yard line. So Bears will set up shop once again, looking to extend that lead. They're ahead 14-0. This looks like a good time to throw the ball, Phil.
We'll see.
Kohlheim. Nope. In the middle. Well, East Brunswick not wanting to exhibit that throwing game.
Well, they're not wanting to get fancy. They don't feel a need to go to it. They see what they're doing is working. Let's stay with this until they stop us.
All right, Sabatino was the ball carrier. Picked up about 1. Bears playing, as you say, conservatively. 8 minutes left in the second period. This is Kohlheim. Drops back. Looking for Sermonello, who has it.
I'll tell you, a dangerous pass. Kohlheim rolling back, backpedaling, and throwing in the middle there. But nevertheless, hit Sermonello right on the numbers there. Not fine throw and a nice catch.
And a 14-yard pickup and a first down for the Bears, down to the 14-yard line of Woodbridge.
And what you're looking at is an awfully loose team here, and you may see them experiment with some things here. They're in control and they know it.
And the Bears knocking on the door again. Kohlheim, cool, calm, and collected. Give. No, kept, I'm sorry. And what do we have here?
Might be face mask, we'll see.
Could be a face mask.
Kohlheim just stepping out of several tackles there.
Yes, it is a face mask. East Brunswick's clapping. That was an 8-yard pickup. He had me fooled, Phil.
Well, I told you he's become a rather adept and a deft ball handler.
All right, let's see. We're going to go half the distance on this. Ball is on about the 8 or 9 yard line.
And we see Ricky Johnson coming in for Ouyang Kwan.
Ball it will be marked on it just inside the 5 yard line. So East Brunswick will have 4 cracks at it. Phil, I can't get over the maturity of Kohlheim. He doesn't seem to rush things like he used to.
Confidence.
Give to Sabatino, and he gets good yardage down to about the 1.
You're right.
East Brunswick not wanting to do too many fancy things here.
Okay, you see Jeremy Fisher, big Jeremy Fisher, coming in on that offensive line.
All right.
Kwan comes back in.
First down, by the way. I'm sorry, I had neglected to say that was not a first down on that face mask, but they do get a first down now.
And I wouldn't be surprised to see Sermonello here. He already leads the county in scoring, and they may want to add to that.
Ball is marked on the 2. Give to Sermonello, drives forward, but doesn't get too much.
And I tell you, good thrust by the Bombers there. You had number 27, who is Edrak Rozier. And Rozier is the guy against Trenton in the state finals who made the final play on the 1 yard line to stop Trenton from scoring. And it's the same type of play he did just there. Edrak Rozier.
All right, I would not be shocked to see Kohlheim roll out with this. Bears are in a basic wishbone. Ball is fumbled. Who's going to get it? And it's recovered. A nice opportunistic recovery by Ricky Johnson.
I'll tell you, good heads-up play, Ricky. Ricky Johnson in the right spot, hustling back there to recover that ball. Could have been disastrous for the Bears.
Well, you saw Kohlheim was rocked. And what was a first and down on the 2-yard line is now a third down, with the loss going back to the 17-yard line.
And this looks like it might be Tangway area right here. Look for Jay Tangway.
Wouldn't be surprised. Now he has single coverage back.
Mike Kamba covering him.
Kohlheim is looking for Tangway. You're right, Phil.
Wow, nobody did.
And almost intercepted.
2 defenders for the Barrons ran into each other, thereby knocking the ball down. We have a flag, Jim.
Let's see what this is. If it's a holding, that would be, well, let's see what Woodbridge elects to do here. It's a motion penalty. No, I'm sorry. What is that call?
Holding.
Oh.
Offsetting penalties regardless, Jim.
There's a hold on.
So they do the down over.
Yes, they do. Play it over. Phil, that's the one area with Kohlheim that he makes his mind up on a pass.
Well, he focused in, but the point there, he didn't stop and set his foot. He's rolling back there and threw that off bounds. Just a bad pass by Kohlheim. Doesn't throw that many bad passes, but that was a bad pass.
And there was about 3 Woodbridge defenders in the area.
And you may see him try to come to the other side to Tim Ajibitosho, knowing that Tangway is going to get a lot of attention on his side.
Wow, as he split wide, and I can see this pass being lofted up into the far side. No, it's a give to Quan, who gets about to the 15, and Bettis is going to try a field goal.
And this will be Chris Bettis' first field goal. Well, I don't know if it's his first attempt, but certainly if he makes it, it will be the first one made. And
what do we have, a timeout here?
the Bears looking to get something out of this series here.
Ball will be set up on about the 22-yard line, so this will be a 32-yard attempt for Chris Bettis. Snap looks good. Ball's up. And kick is good. And Bettis, a 32-yard field goal. And I'll tell you what, in this game, any points you can get, you'll take.
That's for sure. Bettis has 5 points scored this game, and clearly he's going to put him way out in front, I would think, in kicking points in the county.
And I'll tell you what, East Brunswick very pleased to come away with 3 points on that drive.
Well, to come away with something. Otherwise, it would have been a wasted series there. They were in excellent field position there and did some things that just didn't work. Nevertheless, did end up coming back with a 32-yard field goal.
And that field goal coming with 4:52 left in the first half, second period. Now East Brunswick with a 17-0 lead. And the offenses look good. Just that one play by Kohlheim where he fumbled the ball. Phil, I guess Johnson is the one that gets, since he recovers the fumble, gets credit for the rush, right? I'm trying to figure this out because that loss of 14 yards.
Well, we're not going to give it to Johnson. He just did a heroic thing. We're not going to give him minus 14 yards for it.
I know that, but that would bring Kohlheim, statistically speaking, back under.
I don't know if it was a rush. I don't know if it's considered a rush by Kohlheim.
Well,
you can't be sure he was running.
Bettis will kick off. Here we go. And it's a low squibbler picked up by Bardos. He's a good runner.
Ooh.
Wow, he's racked. Looks like Lenny May was the first one there.
Just again, and I tell you, I've said it each time, basics, fundamentals, how to tackle and whatnot. Just a fine exhibition anytime the Bears play, how you're supposed to tackle. We see so many high school teams arm tackling and with their head and all sorts of things. The Bears just do it the right way. And again, you got to bring that back to coaching.
Woodbridge will start at its own 40-yard line. 4:32 left in the second period. East Brunswick 17-0. Slickner. Phil, maybe it's my imagination, but it seems like Slickner gets that ball a little slow. It seems like the line is moving ahead, so I don't know if that East Brunswick gets a little extra time to react.
It's just Slickner's first year quarterback, and so and I think they switched players off several times, so he's trying to find his comfort zone.
Gain of 2 on the play. That makes it 2nd and 8. Scott deep back. Russo playing the fullback position. And a pitch, a late pitch. Scott somehow got it, though.
Ooh, and got the first down.
Well, Slickner does not look comfortable with that pitch. And that was all Brandon Scott.
All Brandon Scott right there, showing a fine effort.
And it's a first down.
On the option for a first down.
Ball marked on the 47-yard line of East Brunswick.
Yeah, that was sort of a freeze frame move by Slickner there.
Bringing Woodbridge into East Brunswick territory. First down on the 47-yard line.
Clock starting to become a factor. 3:25 left. Give to Russo.
Ooh,
he's
and
hit.
Nailed. He's nailed enough. I think that's Lenny May on
Yes,
the bottom.
it was. May was the first one to hit him.
Jeez. And, you know, Lenny May playing in the tradition of the just great nose tackles that the Bears have had over the years. And didn't think anybody'd make me forget Jay Adocio in the career he's had, but Lenny May is right up there.
All right, the tackle for no gain makes it 2nd and 10. Now we have a shotgun formation. Lokes, and let's see.
Wow, he did well to hold on to the ball. You got Lorenzo, Bettis.
Just a poor snap from center, and Slickner barely had enough time to get on that ball. And it's going to be a big loss, probably about 8 yards.
And Gerber back there.
And the whistle now sounds, let's see, no, I'm sorry. I thought, yes, Woodbridge does call a timeout.
And I'll tell you, as to see the timeout there, Nick Spadafino, the defensive coordinator, has been there for 25 years, and I'll tell you, he's done a job this year, but he's had some help with Don Sofoconic.
We remember Don.
Remember Don, a heck of a ball player himself. Went on to Kutztown University where he distinguished himself. But those two have done a job with the defense there.
Phil, you look at that defense, and compared to Woodbridge certainly, but most other teams on the schedule, they're not as big, but yet they are so intelligent. They play the gaps well. They shoot, and they're just opportunistic.
But here's the thing. Everybody likes to play, which is the thing. I talk about teaching fundamentals and whatnot, and for years we said Bears have had a fine effort but didn't have the horses. Well, they started out with ponies, but they have the horses now. These guys want to play. When you see 5 and 6 guys around the ball, it's because you want to play. And you can teach technique, but you can't teach hitting. You got to want to hit. You got to want to tackle.
And thus far, that defense has been successful in shutting down a quality Woodbridge team here. They come in with a 4-2-1 mark, not going to make the playoffs. They are defending Central Jersey champions. All right, 3rd down, about 20, let's say. And Slickner is going to take it himself, jumps over center.
Wow.
And gets 10 yards on that.
I'll tell you, he paid for it, but a fine effort. You got 3 Bear players down, 3.
Let's see, Jeremy Fisher slow getting up, but it looks like German might be a little.
Fisher's down, German's down, Whalen got up a little slowly. I'll tell you, the one thing that distinguished this Bear team is that they haven't had that many injuries, Jim. And when you can avoid injuries and have your key players in there, it can make a difference. And we certainly hope these young fellows are all right. We talked about Jeremy Fisher certainly having his best game of the year against Cerebral. He does his job offensively on the line, but had a super game defensively. And you see Steve German there came up with the big interception earlier. And we talked about German, just a smart kid. Has the highest grade point average of anybody on this team here, and just an intelligent ball player. German looks like he's shaking the cobwebs out and may be all right. Fisher, I'm not so sure.
Well, with this injury, let's see, German's up off his feet. That's good to see. We'll wait on Jeremy Fisher. I should mention that the East Brunswick girls soccer team will be playing tomorrow. That's Tuesday at Ewing High School, and they have won the Central Jersey Group 4 title. And we'll move on to the state semifinals.
Ninth
meet Shawnee.
consecutive time. Jeez. Fisher's still down. Fisher's 6'2", 236-pound senior. And he has contributed to this team here. You often see him hulking over as a linebacker. Just played a wonderful game against Cerebral. And at this juncture, you don't want to lose a player of his quality. You don't want to lose any player, to tell the truth, but you don't want to lose a player of his quality. See Greg Kohlheim standing out there looking at him. And it's always reassuring to know when you got a guy like Phil Hostler on the sidelines to check him out right away.
All right, this is a team that, as you had mentioned, Phil, is quite united. And when any player goes down, that team feels some hurt. So you can see the concern.
The team, we said it before, an unselfish team. Tangwade and Hagan said at the beginning of the year, listen, we're going to play together as a team. We've practiced as a team. They probably worked harder than any team. We talk about their quickness, but they're tough also, physically tough. And that comes from being in the weight room a lot and being prepared for the season. This team was prepared for the season.
All right, Fisher gets to his feet. That's good to see. I think he got his bell rung, Phil, the way he's walking off.
He got his bell rung, no doubt about it. He's on cloud something right now. And
well, let's see here. It's a 4th down, so that means that Woodbridge is going to punt. And I guess the defense has done its job one more time. We have to watch for the fake here. We're right around the 2-minute mark. Nope, they're going to kick. It's not a good kick.
At all.
And a fair catch called by Figaro. Good play.
A smart play.
And it's exactly at the 2-minute mark. So East Brunswick will have one more opportunity before this half comes to a conclusion. It's a good one. East Brunswick 17-0. 2 Greg Kohlheim touchdown runs in the first period. And then Bettis with a 32-yard field goal in the second period.
And for some reason, I don't think the Bears are going to be conservative here. I mean, they're up 17-0, no reason to take any chances, but I think you may see them do some untraditional things right here. They're going to go for it.
All right, Kohlheim calling signals. That's the give to Sabatino. Had a little room. And I believe East Brunswick has all its timeouts left. He gets 2 yards on the play. And that'll bring up a 2nd and 8. Minute 40 left. Ball is just on the 32-yard line. Bears need 68 yards to go to get another score. Kohlheim, another give.
That's Sermonello, and he's stacked up there. And once again, a few Woodbridge players doing the job there.
Sermonello barely gets back to the line of scrimmage.
It's number 55 for the Barrons, Steve DeBose.
And it's a 3rd and 10, and can't imagine that the Bears are going to take a chance to put this ball in the air. We got 50 seconds left. There's the give. Kohlheim has it. Nowhere to run, and he just...
Oh, could have been a late hit. No call. Good no call.
And let's see, I believe Woodbridge takes that timeout now. Yes, they do. So Kohlheim loses another 3 yards. Our record-setting performance might have to wait, Phil.
I've seen that happen, Jim. You jest, but I've seen people set records and then all of a sudden in the latter quarters get minus yardage and they have to be taken back.
An important punt by Figaro. 40 seconds left in this second quarter with East Brunswick leading 17-0.
You surprised about the crowd? Thought to be a lot more people.
It's hard to say. It really is. It's a cool, crisp day, but a lot of things going on this time of year.
Woodbridge certainly brought more people than we're used to seeing on the other side.
That's true.
I'm talking about our side here. I thought the stands would be loaded all the way.
Well, as I look across the field, I see half the Saraville team here. So a lot of those fans are just interested players. All right, here's the punt. We're going to get off by Figaro again. He's on his 15. Here they come. Gets it off. Nice kick. nobody deep for Woodbridge. They were looking for the block all the way, and it doesn't work.
I tell you, fine punt.
And that ball goes all the way back to the 29-yard line, and give Keith Figaro a lot of credit on that one.
You want to say that 3 times?
Down by Brunswick, leading Woodbridge with a first and 10 with 29 seconds remaining in the half.
Oh, a real physical half. East Brunswick getting a lot of players knocked around, but still ahead, 17-0. All right, here we go. Slickner in the shotgun formation. That's a good one. Sideline pass, almost
German
intercepted.
right there again.
There was German waiting for that one.
Almost with his second interception of the game. Almost too easy. I think that's what happened. He's standing there and can't believe that ball's coming right at me.
With 12 seconds remaining in the half.
Just 12 seconds now. Don't understand the strategy unless it's a hook and line, a hook and ladder, Phil. I can't imagine these sideline passes working with 12 seconds left. All right, now they're spread wide for Woodbridge. Slickner across the middle and intercepted by Kilkenny.
Wow.
What a play.
I'll tell you how good that interception was. It's so good that if he didn't catch the ball, he might have been called for interference. But when you snatch a ball like he did there, you got to give it to him. That's his 4th interception of the year.
And East Brunswick uses its second time out. There's only 5 seconds left to go. So what do you got here? A Hail Mary?
And so many weapons there. I talk about Kilkenny's 4th interception of the year. He will be on somebody's all-county defensive backfield team. I can tell you that.
Has to be. That's the 3rd turnover for East Brunswick, by the way. The fumble recovery in the first period that led to a touchdown on the 30-yard line for East Brunswick. And then 2 interceptions by German and Kilkenny.
I hear you. And as you look across the field, on the other side of the field, you see Bill Nyers out on the field. And Bill Nyers, he's a first-year coach, a graduate of Woodbridge, graduated in 1984, just thrilled to come back to his alma mater and coming back under some strange circumstances, which I'll talk about a little bit later.
All right, you have Tangway far wide to the right, Adjikapatojo to the left. There's 4 receivers for East Brunswick, and looks like Kohlheim's going to let it fly. Nobody there.
Ooh.
And that'll do it. A solid first half for East Brunswick all the way around. 17 points with 2 touchdowns, field goal, defense coming up big as it has all year, and East Brunswick leaves the field with a 17-0 lead. Phil, your thoughts?
Just a tremendously solid first half by the Bombers. Oh, I'm tripping on it. By the Bears, who totally dominated this first half. They seem to be in control. They seem to be playing with great confidence, and they're right where you like to be at this time of the year.
Exactly. 17 points that drive before by East Brunswick. Somewhat conservative, but when you have a 17-0 lead against a team like Woodbridge that is not known for its quick strike ability, you have to feel awful fortunate. So that's the score at halftime. East Brunswick leading Woodbridge 17-0. And we're going to take a break here, and we will be back with the second half action in just a moment. Okay, we are back at J. Doyle Field here in East Brunswick with the Bear football team holding a seemingly commanding 17-0 lead. Phil, again, your thoughts on how things went that first half?
Totally dominated first half by the Bears, and I was quite frankly shocked at the Barrons' inability to do anything. We knew they had size, but I'm surprised at just how slow the team is. Of course, this Bear defense has a way of making even the best of offenses look slow. I mean, the Bear defense is so very quick. They're able to contain Brandon Scott. Scott can't get anything going, and Scott is their game. And if the Barrons aren't able to come up with something different, it's going to be a long afternoon for them.
And it's that East Brunswick defense that, if you're an East Brunswick fan, has to give you some good feelings, inspiration that this Bear team is in good shape, because they are really an attacking defense, allow very little. Woodbridge is primarily, as you can see, a running team, and East Brunswick against the run is really just a dominant team. So
they're that 46 defense, that Buddy Ryan 46, much ballyhooed. You know as well as I do, Jim, though, you can have any kind of defense. If you don't have the people to play the defense, it's not going to make any difference. This team is perfectly well suited for it, because they're not overly large, they're very strong and very quick, and they get up at you, and that's what you got to do in the 46 defense, and it's wreaked havoc for most of the teams that they've played.
All right, the Bears, having won the toss in the first half, received, so they will be kicking off to begin the second half. That's Bettis, and deep for Woodbridge's Scott. He didn't get the ball too much, but it's deep this time, and fielded by number 14. And he's racked up again.
I'll tell you, Ricky Johnson with the first hit there.
Kilkenny's in there as well.
Kilkenny and Sermonello came along, but Ricky Johnson, the headhunter on that play.
And if you had any thoughts that East Brunswick might relax this second half, put them out of your mind with that hit. Wow. So Woodbridge, as it has all game, not in the best of field position. Ball on the 21, let's say. And we're underway in this second half. East Brunswick 17-0. We have a new quarterback in the game.
And we have a new player coming on the field late.
All right, that's Bechtold, number 14. He was the one that fielded that. We have a flag, and
not a good beginning for the Barrons. The flag, I think it's movement on the Barrons, and then you have motion on the Barrons, yes, and then you have your players being stacked up at the line on top of that.
Phil, I mentioned that coming into this game, Slickner had maybe feeling the ill effects of a concussion, or that forced him out of the game last week.
Right.
And we noticed a couple of times that he just was not all there on. Of course, he didn't have good center snaps.
Right.
But wasn't in rhythm, if you will.
He's probably feeling it somewhat. Bechtold, on the other hand, Bechtold was intended to be the quarterback at the beginning of the season, replacing Anthony Ciaferro from last year.
All right, East Brunswick refuses that penalty, so it'll be 2nd and 10. Pitch to Scott. Looks like he's going to pass again. That ball is looped.
Wow. I'll tell you, that ball hanging up there, and who's that?
There was two players. One racked up for East Brunswick on that tackle. Let's see who gets up slow. That's Dumas.
Paul Dumas going over there to break up that play there. Kilkenny around it as well, but Paul Dumas is the one who made the hit there.
Well, the quarterback, Bechtold, was the intended receiver on that pass from Scott, but it was floating up there so much.
You don't see it in halfback pass too much where you throw completely back to the other side of the field. Usually it's thrown on the same side of the field, Jim.
All right, shotgun formation for Woodbridge. That's Bechtold. 3rd and 10 for Woodbridge. They have not really gotten anything off. Scott is the one who's going to get this. He lofts it up high. Kilkenny's there.
And he has it.
He has the ball.
Unbelievable.
And let's see if he can get this going. Here we go again. East Brunswick, he cuts to the right.
Oh, no.
Can he get in?
Oh,
he's down to the 5-yard line.
I love it. I love it. David Kilkenny, mark his ballot in right now. And if he's not an all-county defensive back, then there aren't any around here. That's his 5th interception of the year, and as you saw, he almost took it back again.
Well, Scott lofted something I thought was going to bring rain from the sky, and Kilkenny, all he had to do was wait there. He grabbed it, and he went in 20 different directions, finally landed on the 5-yard line. And East Brunswick, great field position to begin its second half possession. They're already up 17-0 and looking for more. Colheim comes up the center. Give to Quan. Excuse me. No, it was fumbled. And picked up by number 27. Now look at
Seminole coming up to make the tackle. And he gets him. Wow.
What a turn of events there, huh?
I'll tell you, number 27, and that's Edrak Rozier.
You mentioned him.
Edrak Rozier, he's a game player, as I mentioned, made the big play against Trenton in the state finals last year, picked up that one, was on his way for a TD. Sermonello showing great speed, proper angle, and saved them from scoring a touchdown.
You described it well, Phil. That was it. So another fumble by East Brunswick. This one a turnover. This is the first time that they've had a turnover. And Woodbridge now will try to see what it can do. It's been fruitless though thus far. Bechtold. That's Scott. And he's racked up after about a 7-yard gain.
You got German, Whalen, Fisher, Tangway. And Lenny May standing around just in case.
7-yard gain brings it up to a 2nd and 3. 9:28 left in the third period. This is as deep as Woodbridge has been this entire game. Bechtold gives it off to, I believe that's Scott. And he gets it down close to first down yardage.
And I'll tell you, he's riding right on Mike Klozik's tail, number 79. I mentioned him before, 6'3", 280 pounds. And he's throwing his weight around in there.
We will have a measurement.
And I tell you, Bill Nyers, the coach for Woodbridge, said that if we expect to do anything, we got to be able to lay our bodies on the Bears. The Bears have just been too quick for the Barrons in order to do that. Right there was a good example of laying your body on there, trying to pick up some all-important yardage here.
Ball marked down on the 21-yard line. And I believe, now they're looking at it.
Wow.
About as short can be.
I'll tell you, it's just a fraction.
And it'll bring up a 3rd down now for the Barrons. Their deepest penetration.
And we know from the Cerebral game that when you're just short a fraction doesn't mean that you're that you're over. Again, you can look for the Barrons to use their size up front here. I'd be surprised if they did anything but go straight ahead.
This is Bechtold. Straight ahead with the keeper. He'll get the first down. He had some blocking there, Phil.
He definitely did.
All right, a first down for Woodbridge. Ball on about the 18-yard line.
And this is the best field position the Barrons have had all day.
Easily. Bechtold keeps it again. He's got some yardage. And
swarmed under.
Finally, I thought he had more there, but looks like he's going to get about 3 on that play.
Kilkenny came up to turn him in, and a host of tacklers brought him down. But Bechtold seems to be a lot more of a physical player than Slickman.
Ball marked on about the 15, so it'll be 2nd and 7. Woodbridge straight at you. Becton keeps it, but he's racked up this time.
I'll tell you.
Phil, I noticed that Bettis was just working right on Brandon Scott, so that caused Bechtold to have to keep the ball, and that was what caused the tackle.
It appeared to be Dumas right in there on there.
Little or no gain on that play, so we'll call it 3rd and 7. Clock continues to run. It's 6:59 left in the third quarter. 17-0, East Brunswick. At stake, Central Jersey Group 4 playoff bid for the Bears. Bechtold drops back, lofts it over the middle, incomplete. The pass was intended for Chris Bartos.
And Bartos didn't appear to be looking, and pass was out in front of him anyway.
All right, so that brings up a 4th down situation.
And they got to go for it.
They are at the 15-yard line.
And you got to believe they're going to come back to Bartos again. Again, that pass was not online here.
Well, you notice that Scott has twice thrown the ball on the halfback option. He took over for Slickner last week at quarterback, so he does have the ability to throw the ball. So a big 4th down play. Pitch back to Scott. Yes, he's going to throw it. Is anybody there? Intercepted. Intercepted by Lenny May, is that? Still on his feet. Gang tackled now. But nonetheless, that was a 4th down play, and East Brunswick turns back Woodbridge. And Phil, I have to go back by that touchdown-saving tackle by Frank Sermonillo last series.
I'll tell you, you're right, a big play there. But Lenny May coming up with the touchdown, and he's done everything all year, so why not a touchdown here?
Interception, you mean?
Interception.
Okay.
He's done everything.
And a 3rd interception for the Bears. I'll take that back. That's the fourth interception by the Bears. 2 by Kilkenny, 1 by German, and now this one. Okay, this is Colheim. Give up the middle to Sermonello.
And
he does not carry the ball too much.
What are we going to call Germain? Is it Germain? Let's get it straight.
Whatever it is, he's playing well. We apologize to the young man. And the 4-yard pickup by Sermonello's is his highest positive yardage this afternoon. So that's 2nd and 6 for East Brunswick. This ball lying on about the 19-yard line. East Brunswick playing conservative. This is Colheim, dodges 1 tackle. And gets about 3 yards on the play.
Okay.
Phil, I wanted to say something about Colheim. We mentioned that he broke the record by Dave Goldstein. And then was caught for a loss. But I talked to Guy Kipp of the Star Ledger and Brian Carroll of the Home News, and they both give him 104 yards, so he does officially have the record.
Okay, great.
Colheim took a little bit of a hit right there. He was limping slightly. Ball is resting on the 23. It's 3rd and 4 for East Brunswick. Colheim goes wide, and he gets the 1st down.
Wow, and I tell you, yeah, you saw the Woodbridge defender on his backside, number 9, I believe, Eli Ingram closing down on Colheim, and Colheim just walked away from him.
Well, let's see where they mark that ball.
Might be a little short, Jim.
I thought he had it. Now they're going to look. No, I'm sorry. He's a yard short. And apparently Greg did not. He looks like he had more than enough. And it's going to be a 4th down, so that's going to send in Figaro. I don't think Marcus Borden's going to take a chance here. In that situation, maybe Greg could have had a little more presence of mind. All he had to do was dive for that yard marker.
I think you're right, but I think he thought he had it, and felt, well, I'd take the hit.
So we have a 4th and just about a half yard to go. Figaro's in punt position. Scott and Russo back deep, and we have a whistle.
Okay, let's see what this is.
Well, this is an important whistle right here. Let's see what this is. Legal procedure, East Brunswick.
Okay, 5 yards.
That'll bring him back 5 yards. So let's set the ball back on the 21-yard line, making it 4th and 6. And it'll move Woodbridge a little bit closer. Got to believe that the Barrons are going to be coming on this. They've come close a couple of times at blocking Figaro's punts. Nope, they stay back. Line drive, takes a bounce, and Scott lets it go.
Wow.
And a good break for East Brunswick. Ball rests on the 33-yard line. So a nice kick by Keith Figaro. And Woodbridge will take over there. So with 4:41 left to go in the third period, East Brunswick leading 17-0. All the scoring in the first half. 2 touchdown runs in the first period by Kolheim. One of 31 yards and another by 65 yards to make it 14-0. And then Bettis came through with a 32-yard field goal in the second period to make it 17-0, and that's where we're at. All right, here comes Bechtold at quarterback. Pitch, Scott, and he's caught behind the line of scrimmage.
And a host of players led by Jeremy Fisher.
That's a loss. You're going to get a loss. Boy, I'll tell you what, they've really done a nice job on Brandon
really
Scott, haven't they?
I'll tell you. You had Fisher, Gurman, and Paul Dumas in there. Well, they contained him. What you do in this 46 is you shoot the gaps, and Scott just hasn't had anywhere to run. No room whatsoever. He's a dangerous runner, but he's got to be able to get a step to run, and they haven't given that to him.
Racked. Well, Woodbridge staying with its
I'll tell you.
basic smash mouth football. And just about a 2-yard gain on that one.
And Anthony Gerbervac coming up off the bottom of that pile there.
Well, you don't want to relax in a situation like this.
Okay. It's just tough when you come to third down situation and your biggest play is a halfback pass. It just doesn't sit too well, I'll tell you.
All right, another big third down situation for the Bear defense. 3rd and 9. And Bechtold, here comes Bettis.
Oh, wow.
And while Bechtold was able to get that pass off, Bettis caused a lot of havoc on that play.
Bettis did the job. Bechtold saved himself from getting a sack there.
Well, it nonetheless causes Woodbridge to get into another 4th down situation. So, boy, I'll tell you what, this defense.
Well, I'll tell you, they designed it perfectly well. I'll tell you about some moves they made that just sort of cemented this defense.
All right, you have to think that Whalen and Kolheim are down back deep, and they're not going to take any chances. Almost blocked by Lorenzo. As it wasn't a good kick. And East Brunswick will have tremendous field position on their own 45. That was only about a 15, 20-yard kick.
I'll tell you, it all has to do with pressure, Jim. Again, the Barrons know the Bears are going to be blown in there, and they're just glad to get the ball off. And you're right, resulting in very short yardage.
This back and forth play in this third quarter, we only have now 2:47 left to go in the third quarter. It's been a fast-moving one. Neither team, East Brunswick had the best opportunity with a first down on the 5-yard line, but that run back of 70 yards gave Woodbridge great position. This is Kolheim, gives the ball to Sermonello, and he bowls forward. It's about 1 on the play.
Okay, and you had Jason Conatilio and on the tackle for the Barrons.
All right, Fisher comes out of the game.
By Sermonello, stopped by the Woodbridge line, bringing up a 2nd and 9.
Imagine Jeremy Fisher is still feeling the ill effects of that injury.
I'm going to talk about, you got a few guys that are banged up. They're going to come out of this game banged up, Jim. That's
right.
One of the downsides of it.
2nd and about 9.5 for East Brunswick. Ball on the 46-yard line. Kolheim gives up the middle to Sermonello again.
And wow.
And East Brunswick is going to be perfectly content to let the clock run now. Even though it's the end of the third quarter, there's not going to be that many possessions.
And once again, that interior of the Barrons line did a fine job right there.
All right, we have an official timeout here. like a player might have been either a cramp, checking his foot. We don't see who it is.
Someone's down, right. And as you look at the young player down there, we talked about Bill Nyers, head coach for Woodbridge, coming back to his alma mater. Of course, he was an assistant coach under Mike Salento in 1992, but he replaced Frank Bender, a young fellow that came in for 1 year with Woodbridge Gym and took him to a state championship. Young fellow had a salary dispute with the Board of Education that he lost, and as a result, Bill Nyers is on the job. And Bill Nyers has done a good job.
All right, according to our program, the injured player is Steve Du Bois. Getting his leg looked at.
But
no, we haven't. Let's talk a little bit about the Central Jersey Group 4 playoffs.
Go ahead.
Teams that are involved are Piscataway, having won last night.
And should be ranked #1.
Exactly, the same Piscataway Chiefs that beat East Brunswick for its only loss of the year. And you have West Windsor, which is in by virtue of a 7-1 record and enough power points. Now, the only two spots to be determined are East Brunswick, which could do it by winning, and then finally Marlboro, which could get in by beating Howell Township. What do we have here?
We had a little movement by Sermonello in the backfield, and the Bears are going to walk back 5 yards. But an interesting group there, and I'd have to think that the Bears, if they win this game, might be number 2 seed there.
Possibly with the power points.
And if they're number 2 seed, they won't meet Piscataway the first round.
No, that couldn't happen.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I'm not sure. I have to check this out, but my understanding is that if two teams have met each other, they could
flip-flop anyway.
Yeah,
okay.
So it looks like if East Brunswick wins, they're either going to play West Windsor or Marlboro, and we do not know the site of this game. If East Brunswick gets the 2nd seed, then they will have the first-round home game.
Be nice if they get a home game here. Channel 8 could do it.
Okay, here we go. 3rd down and 15. This is Colheim.
Ooh.
He's got some room. Needs one block. Gets
and he's just
steps. And almost turned it in.
And I'll tell you, Frank Sermonello had to pay a price going through the line without the ball. He got flattened. And Colheim, again, with the good ball handling, came to the outside and picked up about 4 yards.
4 yards. We give him 10 on that
10
one.
10 yards.
Yep. Yardage is important to Greg Colheim for the reason that he is possibly going to be the first East Brunswick player to go over 1,000 yards in a season. He already has the season record. All right, that 4th down puts Figaro back in the punting position and gets off a nice kick. Ball's going to bounce again. Lorenzo's down there for East Brunswick, and he's going to let it roll.
Ooh.
And how about that kick? Down to the 5-yard line by Keith Figaro, who has really done an admirable job this afternoon.
He really has.
With the kicking game. And we have but 41 seconds left to go in the 3rd period with East Brunswick up 17-0, and it's looking better and better all the time. Woodbridge, Phil, certainly cannot continue to be as conservative as it has.
Quite frankly, they're a disappointment. I mean, I thought they had a little bit more than is shown here. I knew they were big, knew they had Brandon Scott, but they're pretty predictable and just slow, just too slow for the Bear team.
Bechtel gives off up the middle. Phil, as much as Woodbridge looks slow, I have to think that what we're looking at is just a dominant East Brunswick defense that is so quick off the ball that Woodbridge isn't really getting a chance to do the things it needs to do.
I think you're right. I think you're right. They're probably shocked. Again, players just, before you can get a chance to get to them, they're in your face, they're up on you, shooting the gap, and Woodbridge hasn't seen anything quite like that this year.
Right, and as you see players run down the field, that's the end of the 3rd quarter with East Brunswick up 17-0, and one more quarter to go here as the Bears seek to secure their first Central Jersey Group 4 playoff bid since 1990.
And interesting, the last time the Bears were in the playoff was also against Trenton. They lost, I think, 1990, 21-14.
21-14.
Right here.
And Woodbridge has got to be somewhat disappointed with how things have gone here.
Well, Woodbridge came in and they weren't going to stay, but they certainly were going to come in and play the spoilers, and they certainly we thought had the ability. You remember last year, Jimmy, broke East Brunswick's heart, 56 seconds left in the game. Mike Sweeney diving in the end zone, making an unbelievable catch in order to beat the Bears and help their cause. That win propelled them into the state playoff. So.
And what did they do from there?
And they took it all away.
Isn't that something?
Amazing.
From death unto life.
That's right.
It really was.
But I won't say a mere shadow of that team because they're doing some things very solid, but the East Brunswick team is a different team, and that seems to be the key here.
All right, so it's a second down and 6 yards to go for the Barrons. Ball is on the 10-yard line. Bechtold at quarterback. He's been in the second half here. And it looks like Scott is bowling his way. Looks like a rugby scum.
I'll tell you, you're right.
And the official stops the clock on this. Boy, that is awful close. Nope, we're going to give him a first down.
But the Bears will be delighted to give them that. If that's the best the Barrons can do, Bears don't mind giving them that. They're
exactly
not going to let
point.
them break anything.
Boy, they sure are taking their time, aren't they? If I was Woodbridge, I'd be a little bit more urgent. First down for Woodbridge on the 16. Give to Scott. Has very little room. That was a counter. And a good play led to Paul Dumas, first one there.
Dumas there, Jeremy Fisher's there also once again.
Sean Daly is not playing, as is Hagan.
I'll tell you, the one thing, Bears have been banged up. Fisher's banged up a little bit. Sean Daly's banged up a little bit. Whalen seems to be all right, but he was banged. Colheim even banged up a little bit. So that's what they're going to have to be concerned about. Quan came in, banged up a little bit.
Keeper by Bechtold.
And nowhere.
Gets about 1 or 2 yards, maybe. It's going to bring up about a 3rd and 6, let's call it.
And it appeared to be Bettis again on that side. It's either Bettis or German.
Meanwhile, the clock continues to run. We're down to just about 10 minutes left to go in this game. And East Brunswick comfortably ahead now, 17-0. This is Bechtold. He's going to pass. Lorenzo's back there. Let's see. What do we got?
Oh.
I thought Kilkenny was eyeing up another one.
He had a beat on it. Couldn't get his feet underneath him. But once again, Dan Lorenzo blowing in there, forcing the pass to be off kilter.
He has been in that back. Every time a passing situation is developed, Lorenzo has been in the backfield. And that incomplete pass now makes it a 4th down for Woodbridge. Going to have to punt.
Colheim needs to get his helmet on him rather quickly. That's what the official stopped the game, official timeout. They're about to punt, and Colheim's taking his time, putting his helmet on. They're ready to start it up now.
Here's the punt by Woodbridge. It's a good one this time. Whalen calls for a fair catch, and he'll take it on the 48-yard line of Woodbridge. And Phil, I imagine that even with this good field position, you're not going to see East Brunswick do anything fancy.
Well, they don't want to do anything silly, but you got the field, and they pretty much can do what they want. They can run their basic offense and let things happen from there, or they can try something new. They don't need to do that.
First down for the Bears on the Woodbridge 48-yard line. Clock running, 9:39. This is Colheim. Gives on a counter to Sabatino, who's caught. And he loses about 3. And Sabatino comes up limping. So another source of concern for the Bears, Phil. You talked about the physical nature of Woodbridge.
They're coming out of this game no matter what banged up. You're seeing too many players limping. It's been a physical game. It's been a very physical game. And the Bears are banged up a little bit more than we've seen them at any time this year. The good thing about it, none of it seems to be real serious stuff, but it's aggravating stuff.
So that loss of 3 makes it, 2 yards, makes it 2nd and 12. Ball is now at midfield. Colheim keeps it, rounds left end, pitches now. Quan, and may have gotten a couple of yards.
I tell you, he's whacked out of bounds there.
Out of bounds, stops the clock.
And that's number 45 on that tackle, Jason Conotillo.
And let's just say that Quan got about a 1 yard on that play, and that's going to make it 3rd and 11. Not too many fireworks this half, except for that interception return by the Woodbridge defender, but didn't result in a touchdown, so we still have a shutout going. 3rd down and 11. This is Colheim, turns it up. Looks like he's got some room.
Ooh,
no.
I tell you, he's whacked.
Brought down after about a 7-yard pickup.
And I'll tell you, number 32, Brian Russo.
And I know Marcus Borton is studying this situation. Okay, I think he's going to call for a punt. Figaro. You know, Colheim's taking a couple of shots, too.
He's taking some shots, too. They're going to come out of this game sore, no doubt about it. A lot of banging going on.
Clock running with 8:17 left in the game. Figaro is back on his 45. Remember the last punt went down to the 5-yard line. And this is a wobbly kick.
No one back there.
Nope.
Wow.
And another fine one. This is going to stop on about the 8-yard line. So 2 good deep kicks by Keith Figaro.
I'll tell you, got to wonder what the strategy was there. It wasn't as if the Barrons were having people flying in there to put pressure on the ball, yet they had nobody back.
Well, East Brunswick will take it. And quite pleased to let its defense do the bulk of the work here in the second half. This has just been another dominant effort by the East Brunswick defense. It really has. They have not allowed Woodbridge anything in terms of running room. Scott gets nothing really.
Nothing whatsoever.
Just
and the same players, German, Dumas.
Phil, I almost get the sense that East Brunswick has demoralized Woodbridge into submission here.
I don't think Woodbridge expected anything quite like this. I know I didn't. I expected a tougher performance out of Woodbridge. But again, the Bear defense is just not, it's got to be frustrating, not giving them anything.
I'll tell you, if you're scouts for West Windsor or Marlboro, you got to be concerned about what you can do to break this East Brunswick hold. I got a pitch here, I'm sorry. Don't have the number. Is that Russo? All right, Russo squeezes through for 3 yards.
Young Whalen once again coming up.
And with that gain, it makes it 3rd and about 4 for the Barrons. They really need to get something going here. There's 6:31 left in the game. A real confidence booster for this East Brunswick team. A quick snap, and Russo.
Nothing.
No, he does not make it. He's going to be short by about a yard or 2 yards maybe, and that's going to bring up a 4th down for Woodbridge. And Phil, you wonder if they're going to go for this.
They have no choice, Jim. They really have no choice. I mean, you got to believe that, yeah, you can pick up a yard here because you haven't done anything most of the day, and you don't want to give the ball back to the Bears.
So obviously key 4th down for the Barrons. They need about a yard and a half. Bechtold, it was like a delay.
No, a fumble. And the whistle had blown.
Well, let's see if they.
Let's see where the forward motion is on this.
Play.
I don't know that they got it. I'll tell you.
Legal procedure by Woodbridge, and boy, I'll tell you what, that's a difficult play for them. Because now it brings up a 4th and about 7 yards.
And
to
they
go.
may have to punt.
Penalty is a legal procedure, as we mentioned. Russo looked like he was racked up on that play. He's leaving the game now. Woodbridge will go in punt formation,
Hey,
or seemingly so.
I think the band's playing your song, Jim.
Whalen is going to be the lone deep back. Seems like a little disorganization by Woodbridge.
Delay of game?
What do we got now?
Or did someone line up in the, let's see.
Well, we don't know what that call is across the front. Maybe you can clarify that for me, Phil.
I didn't pick it up to tell the truth, Jim.
We're looking at our rules. Okay, it's substitution infraction is what we have on this one. And it looks like a timeout by Woodbridge is being called
and you
as
see
they march backwards.
Nyers come on the field, and it's been a long day for him and his team. They had nothing to lose here. They weren't going to the playoffs. They could have come in and let it all hang all out and be the spoilers and so forth. But certainly nothing has gone his way this evening. Hasn't been a bad year for the Barrons. They came in here 4-2-1. Again, after the clinching the Central Jersey Group 4 championship last year, so I think a pretty good year for them, but certainly expected a much better performance out of the Barrons than they put on here.
I'm going to be the optimist in this situation and say that East Brunswick's defense primarily came up with just a superb effort. We know that Woodbridge has a big line. Mm-hmm. They have a 1,000-yard rusher, and to basically shut this team down thus far with only 5 minutes left.
Totally shut them down.
Exactly, and it just gives that defense, which is already confident, even more swagger.
Well, but it's not even about swagger. It's about knowing that you can play. As I said before, if you watch them, how the young players go to the ball, they want to be there. They want to hit somebody. They want to play defense, and you can teach and teach for years, but if you don't have the players that want to go at it, it doesn't make any difference. Everybody on that line and those linebackers and the defensive backs want to go at it.
All right, Graffio is back in his end zone. There's a fake. Scott, has he got some room? And I don't know.
Close to the first down.
Close to the first down.
And I tell you, give Woodbridge some credit.
Right.
They shouldn't have surprised anyone on that, but he picked up the first down. Give him some credit here.
It depends on where they. I think he
Brandon
just
Scott
made it.
did get it.
And I don't think Gordon's too happy with the performance of that team. East Brunswick should have been ready for that.
I think you're right, but the point, Brandon Scott finally showed something that made him a 1,000-yard rusher right there.
Exactly. That was by far his biggest run of the afternoon. About 26 yards on that carry, and it breathes a little life into the Barrons. They're on their own 30-yard line now, first down, with 4:58 left to go in the game. Bechtold is going to keep it himself, and he's got to watch it. Almost a fumble, but boy, look at May. Bettis was in there.
And Jeremy Fisher again. Fisher is just coming up. The last few games for Jeremy Fisher, I tell you, those are the things that you want to keep tapes of and show scouts and whatnot, because he's finally come on to play the way we thought he could play.
Loss of 4 yards on the play. Makes it 2nd down and 13. Woodbridge taking its sweet time with the clock running. 4:20 left in the game. And again, confusion and another timeout. I'm not sure the team knew what play was called, Phil. Well, we've started a tradition here by naming an outstanding player of the game. I'm going to put, the defense has been playing great all year, but I'm going to give mine nod to Greg Kohlheim for those 2 touchdown runs this year.
Well, there certainly were big runs there. Like you said, everybody's been playing well. Greg did set a school record with those runs there, so I think it's certainly, I can't argue with that at all, Jim. And when you think about it, what it means is he's had more yards not only than Goldstein, but more than Lynn Beleza, more than Pete Guzak, more than Dave Kurzow, more than Dave Wohl, more than a lot of the great players that ever played here.
Keep on naming them, and there have been a lot of good ones. Phil, I don't know what you think about these Central Jersey Group 4 playoffs, but in my mind, this is the best opportunity that the Bears have since 1987, when they came in as a favorite against Madison Central. And you remember that hurricane-type game where they were upset.
Right.
But in the subsequent playoff years, the 2 other opportunities that they have, they were decided underdogs. This year, I think that Piscataway loss notwithstanding, I think they really thought that they should have beaten the Chiefs. And they really have to feel good about themselves. Scott on about the 4th time that he is optioned.
I'll tell you, fine effort by Whalen. Whalen jumping up over Jay Tangway, who was also there, and just an awfully fine effort, and Whalen almost came down with it.
Phil, I want you tell me what you think about the East Brunswick's opportunities here.
I think they're excellent opportunities. Probably the best team that we know of in Group 4 Central Jersey is Piscataway. I said it before. I thought they beat up on Piscataway right here. Right. The few big plays made the difference. Some people thought maybe they could have made adjustments and went to the zone, or certainly gave more help from the safeties or something like that. You can't cry about it now, but they did beat up on Piscataway. Piscataway beat them with the big plays. They have an excellent chance.
Okay, 3rd down and 13 for Woodbridge. 4:08. Pitch out. Scott cuts it inside, but he's going to be stuffed. And just another example of that East Brunswick defense doing its job.
I'll tell you, he's been doing a good job today. Anthony Gerbervac.
Right, we haven't mentioned him too much.
I'll tell you, he's done a very fine job today. Number 56 there. Paul Dumas turned him in, and Gerbervac nailed him. But, Jim, go back to where I was before. There hasn't been any team that's been hitting like the Bears. We haven't consistently, for all quarters, like the Bears have been doing. They have balance. They have a good defense. They have balance on offense. They have a fine running game. They can pass when they have to. So I would say they have as good a chance as anybody in their group.
I concur. All right, so that stop by Scott makes it 4th and 10. It looks like Gaffio is going to kick again. He's going to throw. Ball is out there and caught by the quarterback. And East Brunswick gets nailed again.
And speaking of nailed, number 42 is down. Apparently he got hit after he threw that pass there. But Jim, you're right. I know Marcus Borden, and that sets in his call there. Those things, the Barrons have nothing to lose by trying something like that, but Borden doesn't want to see him working.
All right, so with that reception, that puts the ball on the 44-yard line of East Brunswick, gives Woodbridge a 1st down. 3:04 left, and they're got a little march going here. Into the middle of the line. Well, I can't figure it out.
Well, the thing about it is I haven't been keeping up with yardage, but those 2 4th down plays there added on more yards, and you had to believe the Bears were holding the Barrons to nearly 0 yardage or minus yardage, and then you get those plays there that makes it a little bit deceiving.
Gain of about 3 yards on the play, makes it 2nd and 7. Clock now showing 2:30.
Okay, trips to the left for the Barrons.
Scott, boy, look at that run.
Wow.
Broke about 3 tackles before he's finally lassoed.
And you can see it. If Brandon Scott has a little bit of room, he can make some things happen. He just hasn't had a little bit of room today.
Gain of about 7 yards, perhaps. Ball down to the 25. Clock continues to run. Now under 2 minutes. I know East Brunswick, with its pride, would dearly like to shut Woodbridge out. Another trip's right up. Third, just about a half a yard. And I believe a Woodbridge player moved on the right side, number 62. And that's the call. Legal procedure. Sets the Barrons back 5 yards, makes it a 3rd down and 6 yards to go. Shotgun formation for Bechtold, quarterback. He's going to throw across the middle.
Ooh, he's got his man.
Was it caught?
Yeah.
I believe it was. Caught by number 8. Well, is he on our program? Number 9?
Eli Ingham.
Okay. So Ingram gets another 1st down for Woodbridge, and with clock now showing under 1 minute. Woodbridge gets, I'm sorry, it is a 1st down,
right.
Yes. Bechtold. Delay to Scott.
Wow.
He's got room. Whoa, almost loses the ball.
He had to go back to get the ball. He's making moves, shifting all over the place, didn't drop the ball, had to go back to get it, but it is a 1st down.
And Woodbridge calls a timeout now.
It's short of a first down, actually. Oh, it is a 1st. Okay.
So I believe that's Woodbridge's final timeout. I know they used one on the mix-up towards the at the beginning of this drive.
And I'll tell you, Woodbridge would ever so dearly love to score here. They've been shut out. They've been beat up. They've been shut down. And by the same token, you better believe the Bears would like to preserve this shutout.
And I'll tell you what I think about this drive. If nothing else, Marcus Borden is going to have a little fodder for thought after this game, at least to get his team in a attention mode, so to speak. He's going to have a couple of things to say. This is a great win for the Bears, no doubt about it, but I don't think he's particularly pleased with the way they've been caught twice on those somewhat obvious situations.
If you want to make it a little bit simpler, the only movement that the Bombers, there I go with the Bombers again, the Barrons have had is with these late passes here, so that may certainly be something to think about.
All right, so they have Scott now wide to the right. We got to keep our eyes on him. Bechtold in the shotgun. And looks like he's aiming for him. Tangway is there, though, and intercepts the pass.
Nicely.
That was a senior play, no doubt about it. He held his ground, knew the pass was coming.
Pretty much like a center fielder, just out there, waited for the ball, went up with hands, and softly took it down, and is fine. And Brandon Scott comes up limping now.
He does come up limping, and believe it or not, that's the 5th interception for East Brunswick this afternoon, Phil, unofficially. 5 interceptions. I'm wondering what the record is on that one now.
For a game?
For a game, sure.
We'll
have to go into our record book here and check that out, but I don't know if we have that. Well, we have most interceptions for the season. Billy Logan, 11 in 1981.
Those are individuals.
Yes.
And Colheim goes down, and that...
With 35 seconds left to go, that's going to do it. Might be able to get off one play. Woodbridge not stopping the clock. Not sure they can. And You know, I like the attitude of this East Brunswick team, Phil. They seem to be rather businesslike right now. They know that this win puts them into the playoffs.
Right.
There goes the clock, down to 3 seconds, 2, 1. And East Brunswick with an impressive 17-0 shutout over a quality Woodbridge team. They're happy, yet they're not ecstatic like a team that it looks like they have more business to accomplish.
Well, they do, and but this is an extremely impressive victory over Woodbridge. And Marcus Borden just has them putting on the face that they have to put on to get ready for serious ball playing time.
Right.
We want to congratulate them first of all, first time since 1990 that they've made the state playoffs, and it's a terribly exciting time for the fans, but it's business time for the players.
All right, very quickly, the scoring, it was all in the first half, actually first quarter when you think about it. Colheim with a 31-yard touchdown run at 6:48 made it 7-0. Colheim again, 65-yard touchdown at 3:39 made it 14-0. And then in the second period, Chris Bettis with a 32-yard field goal, 4:52, 17-0. That was the scoring. It was a good, hard second half. Another typically fine defensive effort by the East Brunswick team, and now they await the playoffs. Phil, any further thoughts?
Well, the only thing you can say is, as you pointed out, a fine effort. I think this team is ready. The only thing I'm concerned about, they are a little bruised. There'll be a lot of people in the whirlpool this week. You had Jeremy Fisher a little banged up. Sean Daly, I'm concerned about. Sean Daly probably is the main person, the big switch. They switched him from linebacker and made him a tackle, and that's made all the world of difference for this Bear defense here. He's got to be well, and Colheim is banged up a little bit, Quan, and a few of the others. If they can get rid of those the soreness and whatnot, which they will because it is playoff time, they're going to be fine.
All righty, so that's going to do it this afternoon. East Brunswick, with this 17-0 win, qualifies for Central Jersey Group 4 playoffs. We do not know who their opponent will be. Probably the other three teams that are going to be in there are Piscataway and West Windsor definitely, and Marlboro, depending on how they do against Howell Township. So that's going to do it this afternoon from J. Doyle Field. Final score, 17-0 East Brunswick over Woodbridge. For Phil Hill, this is Jimmy Allinder saying good afternoon.